Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Underworld Evolution. This is the second movie in the Underworld franchise and it came out 3 years after Underworld, so this one came out in 2006. Something that I like about the Underworld movies is they're not rushed. I think the smallest gap between an Underworld movie is 3 years. We had 2003, 2006, 2009, 2012 and then 2016. So there's at least 3 years between the Underworld movies. And I don't know if that means that they just didn't have an idea at the time, or they did have ideas, but they're taking their time. You know, you get films like the Saw franchise, that a movie gets pumped out every year. You can tell that these films are rushed. Like, look at Scream 6. That came out just over a year after Scream 5, and you can tell because the script was terrible, the dialogue was awful, and it was just rushed. Whereas a film like Underworld Evolution, these movies shouldn't work to begin with. Vampires versus Lycans in the modern day, but they work. And I think the strongest aspect of the first Underworld was the story. So I think if you want to carry on that same trend, then you need to get it right. You need to have a really good story with Underworld Evolution. And that's exactly what we got here. We've got a really good continuation of the first Underworld movie. And not only do we get a good continuation, we even get characters, even if they're only in it for a couple of minutes, carry over into the next movie. So it's that great seamless continuation of the story and the character development. And although the movie was filmed 3 years after the first film, everyone who returned still looked like they were in the same year. And that's for two reasons. One, the film was set very close between the first and the second, and because they're vampires, they still kind of need to look the same age, because vampires don't age the same as humans. Now, we do start off where we finished with Underworld. We've got, in Underworld at the end, you had this werewolf who was killed on top of the tomb of Marcus, and the werewolf's blood was dripping down into Marcus's grave. Because Marcus can be a hybrid, he can take the blood of a vampire and a werewolf, then the werewolf's blood wakens him up before he's supposed to be awakened. It was only a day or two before anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But Marcus is awoken. He does wake up with the werewolf blood. And I think in this one, Marcus looks the best so far. You had Victor, who was cool, but he was just a vampire and a normal looking vampire. The same with Craven, he was just a normal looking vampire. But with Marcus, and I don't know if it's because Marcus is more powerful or it was because of the werewolf blood, he's got a bit of a hybrid in him. He's got the wings this time, and I think wings kind of reminds you of Dracula or a good old fashioned bat. So the look of Marcus was menacing because of those wings, his ears, his nose. Everything about him was really scary, and the fact that he can fly about so fast, doesn't need a car, it makes it more terrifying that if Marcus is after you, then you're in trouble. There were scenes in it where he's in the woods and flying above the trees. He kind of reminded me of the Creeper from Jeepers Creepers. I don't know if they modelled him around that, but he looked very menacing and very scary, and he looked like he could kill you just like that. In this one, they talk about Marcus's twin brother, William. This is the first time William is mentioned, and William is a Lycan. So it's got that great Romeo and Juliet story, only this time it's two brothers, and Marcus is upset that William was taken in and banished for over 500 or so years. So he's still alive, but he's in this tomb and just been held there for many years. And Marcus, because he's got the werewolf Lycan blood in him now, he awakens and wants to release his brother, and his brother can rule together as both Lycan and werewolf. We do get a flashback of centuries before when Victor was still alive, of course, and he was ruling the vampire world with Marcus, and they had to try and capture William. And you can see that Marcus wanted William to be taken in quietly, but Victor had other ideas because he was hurting William at the same time. So you can see that bad blood between them. Before they even became enemies, they didn't really like each other to begin with. I think the story in this one was a lot tighter than the story in the first movie. I loved the story in the first film, but I think this kind of ties up loose ends. Also with Michael being in this movie, I don't think Michael deserved a place in Evolution because it was more about William and Marcus rather than Michael. I like that because Michael took a back seat. And again, I forgot Michael was in this one. I forgot his role in this one. And even when he was in this, he still didn't really serve a purpose, just like the first movie. It's almost like they had an idea of building up this vampire Lycan hybrid, and it didn't really work. So because he didn't die in the first movie, it's almost like they were contractually obligated to bring him into this one just to kill him off. And that's exactly what they've done. And I don't mean kill him off as in physically, I mean in the story. They just killed his story off completely because it was more about the brothers instead of Michael. Yes, Michael played a part in the movie, but his part was still forgettable. When we look at Selene, she gets her backstory again, comes full circle because she starts to remember things about who her family were and why they were killed as well. They weren't just villagers being killed, they were protecting the tomb that William was in. I don't know if they knew about it, but they were certainly there anyway, and she was obviously one of the survivors. So we get more of a backstory with Selene as well. Selene is again more of a badass in this one. I think the fight scenes were a lot better, the choreography was tighter, the CGI was pretty good as well because they used more CGI with the Lycans in this one. Now, I'm not a champion for CGI, but I think the CGI was used sparingly at times, and I think the CGI was pretty good, especially for an older movie. And the prosthetics and the practical effects were still there as well, especially when you see the prosthetics on Marcus. I think they were fantastic. We still got a lot of random slow-mo shots that I found bizarre, but at least in this one, the slow-mo shots looked better. They were just unnecessary. As much as I thought everything looked a lot better, the story was tighter, was it better than the first movie? You tell me. Anyway guys, thanks a lot for watching again, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you soon.
Meeting adjourned.
I'll be right back.
What are you waiting for, huh?
Coming to get you, Barbara.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Someone's in the back!